And so let's see how this program can contribute to a country like Bangladesh to develop its trade performance. My question is, what is the government's policy to make sectors more competitive and more compliant with international product safety and labor standards, something we were talking about in the last panel? And how can a program like this be most catalytic to your efforts?
Export success is increasing over the years to, at the moment, a value of 28 billion USD for textile, garments, and agro exports. So we are doing something right. What we face is that in our target markets, standards and technical regulations evolve and become more stringent. The EU, for instance, sends inspections of our fisheries supply chain, the regulatory setup, the inspection system in place, the hygiene at the level of operators. The verdict then decides if we can export or not. Within the BST program, we got exposure to international best practice, could improve our systems and performance within the aquaculture value chain without any complaint or rejection.
Some very important points you made there, and of course, not only you resting on your laurels, as you said, you're looking ahead because you want to become a middle-income country by 2020, and these type of programs help you reach that goal. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Now, let me turn to Mr. Ahmed. First of all, what were the most difficult challenges the sector faced a few years back? And secondly, what did the local regulators and operators do to turn the sector again into a prosperous business opportunity for small-scale farmers? Because it's one thing, to have everything in the water there for you. It's another thing to make it internationally competitive and to have quality control.
But a sector with many small-scale farmers, with many women employed in shrimp processing, with a large number of poorly educated workers and farmers. This gives us particular challenges in terms of spreading good practices in capacity building. Through this BEST program, we trained over 1,600 lead farmers in good aquaculture practice. We put in place a robust traceability system sufficient for purpose and can be operated by the people at the farms and the processing factories. And the competent authority has put a new inspection system in place to approve fisheries export. 42 lead inspectors were trained. 76 shrimp processing companies established hygiene management systems that we call HACCP that comply with international requirements. And our companies now again export to international markets with an annual value of exports to about euro 650 million in the past year. At the same time, 12,000 women workers now have a more stable income, and they are receiving the raised income.
Which is very important. 12,000, that's a great number, and exports 650 million euros in its first year. And of course, it's just going to grow bigger and bigger. So yeah. Congratulations on that. And also you showed us, I think, in a very illustrative manner, the need for close interaction, right? This need for close interaction between the way economic operators establish compliance with the specifications of international markets, because if you don't have that, you're not going to export. And the efforts needed to have in place the inspection and testing services that verify that the products are fit for consumption, be that locally, in Bangladesh, or abroad. Thank you very much. Now this leads me to a question for you, Ms. Khan, who is a Senior Scientific Officer at the Bangladesh Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in Dhaka. Obviously, we've been talking about this, that quality infrastructure and the conformity assessment services they provide are not always easy to understand. In fact, the entire terminology around it doesn't help, all right? It takes experts like you. But can you just tell us in a few words that we all understand why quality infrastructure and its services are so essential with the enabling business environment of an economy, and specifically for sectors such as fisheries or textile garments, because it's not only true in Bangladesh, it's true in all countries. So perhaps we can learn from you. Yeah.
So thank you, Benjamin. If you wish, in a nutshell, I would say the following. The quality infrastructure and the allied compliance services make sure that the country, if you have the system in place, you will get the product, whether it is available in the country or in foreign market, will be the safe one. The quality infrastructure comprises of standard, metrology, accreditation, testing, calibration, inspection, market surveillance. First, if you think about testing, we test our product in microbiological laboratory, chemical laboratory, or any other labs, not to contain the harmful organism, say fertilizer, pesticides, antibiotics, or toxic elements in the product as they are tested in the testing laboratories. Secondly, the consumer, it is very important that the consumer is getting 1 kilogram if the balance and the label indicates it. This verification is known as calibration. So the product, those are unsafe, are withdrawn from the market by means of market surveillance and inspection. So the quality infrastructure, development of such quality infrastructure is a long process and costly. So with the effort of our government and laboratories, we are happy that European Union and Norway through NORAD have generously co-funded our government initiatives towards the development of our industrial development infrastructure. So in Bangladesh, with the support of BEST project, now we develop this service available in our country. We have by this program, we have in different ministries and institutions, 53 laboratories are upgraded to the internationally recognized, where it is recognized for its accuracy and where we are testing our products for our domestic consumption and for export. So locally availability of this service makes the price of doing business and having this service available and reduces its cost to 40 to 60%. And also it reduces the time from 30 days to 3 days. So thus, the benefits of quality infrastructure that you have mentioned, that it is not easily understood, but it very easily and vibrantly helps our economy, our trade, industrialization, and innovation.
No, I think you explained it extremely well. And the thing I think also too, I mean, 40 to 60% cheaper doing it locally than in a foreign lab. That certainly helps your profits and your competitiveness. And the other thing, if you do it locally, you're creating jobs. So it's a virtuous circle. Thank you very much, Ms. Khan. And of course, you mentioned the European Union and Norway. We're going to hear from both of these countries just very briefly. I want to turn to the European delegation first. Ambassador Lenoir, you funded a 20+ million euro project for this program in Bangladesh. Obviously very successful, and I'm sure it fills you with a lot of satisfaction and pride that your support has given such concrete and tangible results. Also, having been an enzyme, I think very importantly, for the development of Bangladesh's performance in fisheries and textile in a better quality business environment. But here's my question for you. From a donor perspective, what are your expectations to make sure such a program and its efforts are sustained?
Thank you very much. I think the ones that should be proud of these results are the ones that have actually implemented this program on the ground. I mean, the national authorities and the private sectors. But I mean, you're right. I mean, we are happy with that program. And to answer your question about the way to ensure sustainable result, I think the key is to stick to some of the key features that made the program a success. The first one is probably that the program was oriented toward concrete realization. Third, and maybe last and maybe more important element is my view that this is an effort that has been centered around the human persons. Jobs have been created, better livelihood have been developed, families enjoy better life conditions, life is better for a number of people, And this is really the logic that we should try to get throughout the life cycle of the project and take it forward in the long run, because at the end of the day, this is what development is about.
There is the confidence between the consumer and the producer. As a fisheries nation and the largest, biggest exporter in the world, we know that you cannot fail on this. So the sustainability lies in the delivery of the quality. That is the competitive edge that is key. So here it was very interesting to listen to the developments in Bangladesh also in this area. We really look forward to continuing this work and to following this success story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. So, you know, we've had two success stories, and something's very clear from both of them. They've made a lot of great points, but you have to have this quality control. It seems very obvious, but as we heard from Ms. Khan, it's not that easy to do, but you have to be consistent about it. And of course, as you just pointed out, Ambassador, what has struck you is the commitment of the Bangladesh government to make sure that they're very results-oriented and that they are consistent, and so we can move the program forward. I want to thank both of our ambassadors. I want to thank the minister. I want to thank both of you as well. Let's have a big round of applause for a very exciting program. And of course, that is at the keystone of ISID. So let's roll this video.
In Egypt, the economic gap between rural and urban areas has been growing since 1995. Lack of jobs, insufficient family income, poor infrastructure produce a vicious cycle of poverty that spirals over generations. The Haya project helps to stop this cycle and gives people in Upper Egypt a chance to change their lives. Focusing on economic development and social inclusion, Haya encourages local communities to determine and express their priority needs and choose their own development initiatives. Haya is supporting productive clusters to grow, access new markets, and create jobs.
الدول يعني على كيفية يعني معاملة النخلة أصلا من أول ما تطرح النخلة لغاية ما المنتج يوصل للمستهلك. وابتدينا نعبه في عبوات نظيفة برضه من الخوص ومن الكرتون.
تطوير الصناعة دي كان ليه علاقة كبيرة جدا ومردود على توفير فرص عمل كثيرة للشباب من الجنسين، لأنه عدد الفرص العمل اللي بيوفرها تخزين طن واحد بس في المخزن المبرد حوالي 20 فرصة عمل للطن الواحد. فأنا لو عرفت إن أنا أخزن 1000 طن بس في الصعيد في السنة، فأنا كده بوفر أكتر من 2000 فرصة عمل للشباب في الصعيد من الجنسين.
الأول كنت بشتري مثلا كانت 100 نخلة، دلوقتي بشتري حوالي فوق ال 250 نخلة. ابتديت يعني أوسع مشروعي لأن شفت حاجات جديدة يونيدو يعرفني بيها. في مصدرين جم وابتدوا يشوفوا البلح اللي عندنا والكميات عشان يصدروها لشرق آسيا وجنوب شرق آسيا والمصانع في القاهرة إن شاء الله.
The project also helps young people to create business opportunities, for instance in the green industry sector and agro-industry, training and coaching them to become entrepreneurs.
صراحة قاموا بدور كبير قوي، وفروا لنا المكان والدكاترة اللي بتدينا المحاضرات دكاترة متخصصين. أول مرة أعمل بزنس بلان في حياتي للمشروع بتاعي، أول مرة أعرف إن المشروع بتاعي بيكسب 300%. إزاي أعمل دراسة تسويقية للمشروع بتاعي، إزاي أحسب التكاليف، إزاي أحسب التكلفة السعرية بتاعة المنتج بتاعي. إحنا كان عندنا في البداية مجرد الفكرة، لكن هم بيناموا الفكرة. يعني هم كانوا واضحين جدا من البداية إن إحنا مش هنقدم روشتة أنت إزاي تشتغل أو إنك أنت هتعمل إيه بالظبط، لكن إحنا هنساعدك على التفكير عشان تقدر تكمل الفكرة اللي موجودة عندك.
Gender equality is a priority under the Haya project. Using the Savings and Loans Association model, 4,500 marginalized women are now managing their savings and accessing credit in an easy, profitable, and sustainable manner.
Find a way to have secure income, you will have the chance to educate your children, to have your food security, to have your habitat security, and many other threats you can face.
By its completion in about a year's time, the project would have transformed the lives of some 20,000 beneficiaries in Upper Egypt. helping some of Egypt's poorest access better and sustainable economic opportunities.
So there you get an overview of the Hyatt project, which is a rural development program, as I mentioned, in Upper Egypt. And of course, you know, I love, because every time I hear when each of these success stories, how many jobs are being created, how many lives are being improved, it's a wonderful testament in terms of what can be done with commitment. And that's very important. This will add improve 20,000 people's lives, which is very important here. I want to start with the Ambassador Khalid Shama. Ambassador, you're representing the government of Egypt in this panel. It seems that sustainable rural development plays a key role in Egypt's economic transition. Big population, a lot of needs. In your opinion, why is a Hyatt project important for the country and the Egyptian people? I already mentioned, you know, the job creation, but obviously it has benefits beyond that, because I think it probably replicated in other places.
Thank you very much for your question and the point that you made. Indeed, for Egypt, economic development is essential. And while Egypt in the past couple of years has been embarking on several mega developmental projects, but the merit of a project such as Hyatt is basically the following. Hyatt, by the way, meaning life, is that it gives the human face to development. What do I mean by the human face to development? Precisely what you mentioned. It's a project that touches the lives of 25,000 people. And even far more than that, because a project like Hyatt, which basically aims to connecting different actors on a small scale, small farmers owning a piece of land less than one faddan, sometimes even a fraction of that, to provide them with sustainability for themselves, them being able to provide employment in turn. By the way, just quickly, such a farmer on his own without such a model of a project sometimes is not able to even sustain himself for a year. Now, with the help of a project like Hyatt, he's able to actually generate input, generate employment, or offer employment to others. Attached to that is the replica effect in other sectors. For instance, transportation, for instance, production of packaging material. And on a small scale, we're not talking here about industrial, mega industrial scale. We're talking about more artisan slash small to medium type scale of activity. So in a sense, it gives a sense of an ownership to the small, I wouldn't say micro, but the small entrepreneur represented by the farmer, by the smallest of entrepreneurs really, in getting together and really starting a developmental process jointly between themselves. That in turn leads to not only economic development, but also social development within the small area, the small town, the small village, and so forth. So basically that's the main benefit of such a model, for which we thank very much Unido, the Partners for Development, as well as other entities that have participated in it.
Yeah, this has a real ripple effect, as you said, because, you know, they may be doing something on the land, but then that leads to a lot of other employment as well, and of course it's a way to sustain not only themselves but many others too. So I think that's a wonderful point to make. It's a much larger process. And of course I want to direct my attention now to Mr. Oba. You are the counselor and head of the economic section at the Embassy of Japan in Egypt. And, you know, the governments of Japan and Egypt have a long history together in terms of development cooperation. But I'm curious about this specific project. You know, why have you decided to fund the Hyatt project? The ambassador spoke, you know, very pointedly about the huge benefits. But how do you assess its impact so far? And what is your experience in working with Unido as an executing agency? Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm very much honored to be here today. I'd like to talk about this project from two different angles. The first one is why we decided to support this project. And the second one is the assessment of this project. Well, why we supported this project? Because in Upper Egypt there are various economic and social challenges. They are serious there, and we decided to work with Unido because Unido has a strong network with local communities, and Unido has very good expertise and knowledge on how we should address these challenges. Then, well, the assessment of this project, it's very successful. I visited the project site myself, and there are so many activities there. And there are two impressive activities. One is, as presented in the video, the new method of drying dates. It's very simple, but eye-opening to the local farmers. Unido helped the local farmers in many ways, including pest management, or drying dates, or packaging, or marketing. So in this way, local farmers increased productivity, and they could increase their income as well. Another activity is introduction of greenhouses. Greenhouses are not so common in Upper Egypt, so Unido supported local farmers, introduced greenhouses. In this way, farmers increased the productivity and income as well. And these are very simple, so this project is sustainable even after we leave the area, and these can be replicated easily in other areas as well. So finally, I'd like to talk about our working relations with Unido. Well, Unido pays close attention to follow-up and the implementation mechanism of this project, as well as visibility. Unido organizes a steering committee on a regular basis. So all the stakeholders, including the Embassy of Japan, the ministries concerned, and local beneficiaries get together, and they are informed of the progress of this project, and they discuss what steps should be taken in the next stage. And we are very happy with the visibility efforts by Unido. This is one of them. And also Unido is a very strong supporter of the concept of human security. So through this project, we are materializing the concept of human security at the ground level. And finally, I'd like to appreciate efforts made by Giovanna, Unido director in Egypt, and her staff for our cooperation. And I hope we can continue and strengthen our cooperation in Egypt. Thank you very much.
The PCP program per se is based on the multi-stakeholder partnership. That means we aim to bring together the key partners at national level. And you see here some of the ministries that we have already identified, together with the National Society of Industries and other industries, which will join hands with them, and national development banks. We will bring them together with international partners, here again financial partners, but also other United Nations agencies. GEF, Global Environment Facilities, we have worked with them already in some of our programs for Peru, OECD, and of course also bilateral donors. We had already some discussions with selected bilateral donors that would be joining hands with us to support this program for Peru. We are at the beginning with the program, but we have already formed the team here at headquarters. And what are the next steps? We will we will organize a mission very soon in January to Peru, where we will set up a national steering committee composed of different national stakeholders. We will, of course, also meet with potential investors, potential donors, because raising resources for this program will be essential, and joining hands, of course. We will define the details of the technical program. We have a very ambitious aim to have the program ready within the next 3 to 4 months. We will also define in details the management structure, develop a partnership structure and strategy, and initiate the mobilization of financial resources and financial support for the program. So this will be the next steps that we are discussing also during these days with the Peruvian delegation, and it will be a great pleasure to work together and to go to Peru. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Petra.